Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Business Incorporated. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwago. Coming up on the show, Nigeria's headline inflation slows further to 12.48% in April from 13.34% in March. Britain's competition watchdog to examine Simbaye loan deal. Plus, Botswana's president eyes jobs in new marriage with the Bears. We start the show here in Nigeria with the latest inflation numbers as the headline inflation rate declined to 12.48% in April from 13.34% in March. This is the lowest level of inflation in more than 2 years and a 15th consecutive drop. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics today shows that the food sub-index declined to 14.8% year-on-year, caused by increases in prices of potatoes, yam, and other food items. Urban index eased to 12.89% year-on-year, while the rural index slipped to 12.13% from 12.99% also in the same period. And to the markets now, the Nigerian NSE index was in the red, down 0.15% at midday. This is despite the positive inflation numbers released by the National Bureau of Statistics. The JSE index also disappointed with a 0.81% drop. Egypt traded in the positive as markets expect the central bank to keep its key interest rates unchanged at its meeting on Thursday. To combat soaring inflation, the central bank raised the rates by 7 percentage points after it floated the currency in November 2016. It has cut them by 2 points since March as inflation eased. Kenya also was negative on Tuesday. In the Middle East, markets were mixed at intraday. Looking at the numbers now, Qatar and Saudi Arabia were down 0.14% and 0.47% each. However, Abu Dhabi and Dubai was up, trading in positive of 0.53% and 1.09%. And in Europe, markets were mixed in early trade as investors monitored key political and economic risks, while oil prices hovered close to multi-year highs. Let's cross over now to Frankfurt for more from Daniel. Hello, Daniel. Good afternoon. Good to see you again today.
Yes, hello to you, Timmy, from the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. It's a busy day here with lots of fresh data coming in from both the corporate front, but also from the performance of the German and the European economy, not company. So, yeah, let's get our conversation started.
Sure, let's start off with those data. The second estimate of gross domestic product data for the euro area out today. So tell us more about the latest numbers coming out of the top 3 economies in Europe.
Yes, the Eurozone's economy slowed in the first quarter of 2018. The 19-member euro area recorded collective growth of 0.4% in the first 3 months ending in March, compared to 0.7% in the previous quarter. Let's talk about the German figures. The German economy also grew slower than analysts had forecasted in the first 3 months of 2018. Europe's powerhouse, that's how many call Germany, expanded by 0.3%. Analysts had predicted actually a growth of 0.4%. The Institute highlighted positive impulses from the domestic economy as firms increased investments in buildings and also equipment and household slightly consumer spending. But the problems are related to government outlays. They fell slightly for the first time in almost 5 years, slowing growth while both imports and exports fell back over the quarter compared with October to December. There's a little bit the fear, though, that there could be a little slowdown on the way for the entire Eurozone. Meanwhile, and that's the good news, that fear are lingering that the European Union could be headed for a possible trade shutdown with US President Donald Trump. So, yeah, yeah, as I mentioned, it's a little bit slowing down. Italy still giving investors quite some headache, also because of the political uncertainty that we are seeing there still at the moment, Jimmy.
Okay, it's a reporting day in Germany today. 5 big DAX companies opening their book. What's behind this?
Yes, they're all opening their books and we're monitoring what they are reporting. Merck, RWE, Commerzbank, ThyssenKrupp, Allianz, they're all giving investors details about their performance. Let's talk first about the Commerzbank figures first. Yesterday's investors were actually prepared for big losses and also a falling share price. As the result, Commerzbank has now reported that because of last tax laws, the numbers are not as bad as actually expected. The operating income is set at a level of 289 million euros. That's about 12% less when you compare it to 2017. Investors, as I just said, thought that this number would have even been worse. What's making them happy today, and that's why actually, at least at the moment, Commerzbank shares are among the top performers here at the blue chip index DAX, that after years, investors will receive a dividend again. This is the first time this is happening since 2015. Commerzbank also reported that they were able to get more customers in both the private and also the corporate banking sector. Big red numbers, though, today for the German steel giant ThyssenKrupp. Shares were down throughout the trading day with about 3%, and that's happening even though the numbers were quite promising. Investors are still not sure if the anticipated merger with Tata Steel from India, that's the big merger that they announced last year, if it at the end is really going to pay off. So the outlook there is not so positive, and that's what's making investors a little bit more reluctant today.
And another corporate news on the wires today. Vodafone, the world's second largest mobile operator, has announced that its longtime CEO is due to step down in October. The firm's shares were down almost 5% in early trade on the news. Now, any information as to why he's leaving the company now, and how is the shares performing at this moment?
Yeah, as you just mentioned it, investors were not taking this news very positive. Shares of Vodafone were down, you said it, 5%. This was really a surprise today. Colau had lots of reason to celebrate just last week and was praised by many inside but also outside of the company for this long-expected $21.8 billion deal to buy Liberty Global's cable and broadband networks in Germany here and also in Eastern Europe. All that was announced last week. If all of this gets the approval from EU regulators, Vodafone will be the biggest telecommunication company here in Europe. But this deal was not even the biggest in his career. He will be best remembered for one of the world's biggest deals, the $130 billion sale of Vodafone's joint venture holding with the US group Verizon. So what's behind all of this? Well, we are reading that he was actually just waiting for the best moment. He was really the face of the company. He feels now that the company is on the right track. He always had a very clear vision for the company. We will be waiting for more details to be released during the day. We only really know who is going to follow. Colau will be replaced by Nick Reed. He has been the finance director at Vodafone since 2014 and long time seen as a likely successor due to his role in running Vodafone's operation. So yeah, a big surprise. Shareholders not that excited yet. So lots of work, I guess, for the new CEO, who, by the way, is going to be starting in October. And all of this is still supposed to take place before this big merger here that I was just talking about a few seconds ago with Liberty here in Germany and Eastern Europe.
Well, let's hope that the new CEO will keep the flag flying. Thank you very much for your time, Daniel. Enjoy the rest of the day.